Well, there's obviously quite a bit of emotions. Disappointment being right at the top. Trying to think what we as a team could have possibly done better. But as I said in the post-match there, like innings like that is just, it's one of the innings that will get spoken about for a lot of years still. To get the runs like he did, he took the game on. Obviously similar to what Quinton does when he comes towards the end there, and he takes a lot of risks. And some days it pays off, and some days it don't. To hit consistently the bowlers that we have, to hit them for six over the fielders, all the risks paid off. So, yeah, I'm probably go back and think what we could have done differently. When I was out there thinking, try all the different tactics, try the spinner, try the seamers, try bringing the field up, try keeping the field down. But he just manoeuvred beautifully with the tail the whole time. He managed to get the strike. He probably faced 90% of the balls, and that's where you as opposition is trying to make sure you bowl as many balls as possible at the number 11. But he handled it so beautifully. And when we got the chance to bowl at the number 11, he didn't nick it, a couple of few past the edges there. Obviously you want to try and hit the stumps. But on any other day, your number 11 nicks that. So, yeah, very, very disappointing sitting here, but I have to applaud him for a magnificent batting performance. No, I don't see that. People obviously will have their opinion. For me, that, the pressure of Test cricket is obviously, because it's a different format there. You're bowling to one player the whole time. It's just some days you've got to say well played. It wasn't through our mistakes. It's not like we dropped catches when the game was on the line, or it was purely just a superhuman effort with a bat. And if that happens in 2020 cricket, white ball cricket, or one-day cricket, or in Test match cricket, that's got nothing to do with us and pressure. It's how well someone else plays. No, as I said, if you look at the way that he played, even with the fielders out on the boundary, he still took risks. So if he played the way that he played towards the end, then yes, you could have brought the field up. But what he did in that period when he was going from, probably when they needed 100 out still, what he was doing is he was consistently taking risks right through the over. He'd take the short ball on, hit it for six, pick Dale or Dwan or KG, pick them up for six. So if he's doing that, no matter what you do with the field, even if you bring the field up, you'll do the same. For me, it was trying to make sure we can extend that lead that we have for as long as possible, but we're also trying to get over on the other side to 6 balls to the new batter. And I think that's where perhaps we weren't as smart as possible. The 2 or 3 or 4 occasions that we did get a crack at the tail ender, he would get off strike within the first 2 balls. Or our bowling would be a little bit off in terms of trying to hit the stumps. As a number 11, you want to make sure you bring in all 3 dismissals, bowled, LBW and Nick, not miss the stumps. Yeah, but it's good enough for any. Dale Steyn does it to the top order. It was just too good for the number 11. It was swinging past his bat, and probably a top order batter would nick those balls. But because the ball was swinging a little bit through there, he would be missing it by quite a bit. So that's why I say the focus will be to try and make sure you can hit the stumps. But yes, a new ball in hand, overcast conditions. I would back any of our fast bowlers there. Obviously Kesh bowled really well, but obviously from a left-hander perspective, he was playing the spin really well and taking that rough out the whole innings. So he played Kesh really well, and as I said, same thing with the seam bowlers. He's consistency with trying to take risks and weighing up risks, when to do it, was incredible. To hit Kesh to the long boundary, over that long boundary in the middle of over for a 6. He took a lot of risks and it paid off. He deserves all the credit he must get. I think we must focus on how good that innings was. Well, we didn't have a new ball at that stage, so our plan to him was we had the 2 slips, but as you could see the way that he was playing, he was trying to pick balls up from length. The plan was to try and nick him off, but what he do is you try and walk across, and not walk across, but you try and flick it over leg stump. Short balls, I thought he was extremely lucky right through the day. There was a few top edges that went for 6 that landed in the middle of the gap. On any other day, all of those balls could have been out, but it was just meant to be for him that he played a great knock. Now sitting on the other side, there'll always be question marks on things that you could have done better. But if one of those balls went up in there, then you would have said well bowled. So it's a case of he's rode his luck and he played a brilliant innings. I mean, I'm disappointed in the runs that we scored in both innings. I think we were under par with both that. I mean, we've played on harder, more difficult surfaces the last 2 years, and we scored more runs. So I thought there was an opportunity to get more runs. So for me, that's more a controllable this game, where we perhaps could have been better. The loss of Vern this morning, Vern on a wicket like that is deadly. And then lastly, I probably, the last conditions you want to try and play Sri Lanka on would be something like that, a very, very slow wicket. So perfectly set up for them to start their tour in South Africa on a not subcontinent pitch. But as you saw, spinner took 5 for slow conditions. Dwan wasn't as effective because the ball was stopping a lot of the pitch. So I would say they outplayed what we thought they would give us on this first match, but yeah, there wasn't much out there to work with. But for me, the upsetting thing was I think we underscored in both innings. No, we've got a terrible record, yeah. And I mean, obviously, we played Pakistan, Joburg, Pretoria, Cape Town, which is all the right places where you want to play subcontinent teams. But then what happens is you need to take Test cricket all around the country, and what's left is the 2 slower pitches, which is what in a perfect world you want to play. If you have to play all 5 venues, then you split it up probably a little bit. You play Sri Lanka, one in the high veld and 1 coastal wickets. But still, we still have to be a team that's adaptable and good enough to beat teams like Sri Lanka in our own conditions. Even if you're playing on a piece of pudding, you still want to make sure you get the results. So disappointed that we didn't. We can't point any fingers. We'll look at areas where we need to improve, and that's, as I said, more for me with the bat. And then you have to give credit where it's due. That was a phenomenal innings to get 160 out of 300 runs. Well done. No, definitely not. Our whole build-up to this week was that Sri Lanka is a very dangerous team. Certainly the conversations we've had is make sure you respect opposition no matter who are, make sure that we train hard, make sure we look after our basics. That's always something we are very respectful of, or certainly the way that we as the leadership and the team speak. And I didn't feel like there was a complacency within the squad. I think we were pretty much on top for most of the test match. It was probably leaning towards us the whole time and being in a good position. Even last, 300, I would have said to you, yes, still enough runs to get them out. And then just towards, obviously, that last hour and a half, that's when things started changing around through one individual that played really well. No, I mean, it's also something, once again, we spoke about. I think it's more a concern, or not a concern, it's more an issue for the selectors or the leadership group to still have ideas of where we're going, what we're thinking, who we're looking at, stuff like that. But it's 100% not in terms of the test team. There's been no chat about World Cup since the test team got together. So once again, definitely not an excuse that we can even consider. No, I mean, when the 2 guys were batting there, the Silva and Pereira in the middle, you could see that there was not a lot. And the same thing when we were batting, myself and Quinny, there wasn't a lot happening. It felt like you could bat and you could get a big partnership here together. Obviously, then you got one to spin a little bit, and then 1 wicket changes. I mean, that partnership, I thought, these guys, how are we going to get them out? Because it doesn't feel, when you're standing at the back of the slips, it doesn't feel like a lot of balls will come through to you at slip. It's stopping off the pitch. And then obviously you get a wicket, and then it feels like we're on a roll again, and it looks like we're going to win the game. And then probably till about 40, 30 runs, that's when it's crunch time now, and something needs to go wrong for them, and you need a bit of luck going your way. top edge from KG there when he's pulling it, something like that to go your way. But that last 45 minutes, I feel like we've tried everything, and he was too good for us. I thought Kesh bowled fantastic today. His shape was unbelievable, unbelievable rhythm. Disappointed for him that he couldn't get more wickets. I felt like on any other day he could have got 7 for and be the hero for us. He went past the bat so many times. Just not meant to be for us today. But you have to, I keep saying the same thing, but through the rough there, Pereira played him really well. He reverse swept, hit him over his head, or slog sweep for 6. He had all the options in the book. But very happy with Kesh. Obviously, we were trying to fit him in our team the last while because we know what kind of bowler he is. He's a match winner for us. We're always trying to think how we can play him in our side. And I'm glad that he's got an opportunity to bowl well again here for us in Durban. Yeah, that's a great point. Like I said, post-match there, very, very disappointment by sitting on the losing side. But there'll be times where you on the winning side like this. But this is what Test cricket should be. It should show people that whether it's 3 or 5 days, there's still 4 or 5 days. Test cricket is still the #1 format. If you see games of cricket like this, it's incredible the amount of times it goes to the opposition, then it comes to you, and then it comes back. It's always that to and from. Great to be part of an amazing Test match, but very disappointed that we couldn't finish it off. No, not at all. I don't feel, as I said, we did a lot wrong. Batting, it's something that you would like to do a little bit better, but we weren't poor. There was some good swing bowling from them. Obviously, they'll always produce good spinners, but no, for me, it's give credit to them. If people feel that this is a low game for me, then it's their opinion. But I felt like we were in control for 80% of the Test match, and give credit where it's due. It's been going well for me personally in all formats the last 2-3 years. Disappointed that I didn't get 100. I obviously worked really hard, but I feel like when situations like that come up, my feeling that I have inside is this brings the best out of me. When there's a time in the game when there's a little bit of pressure and someone needs to stand up, then I love to lead from the front in those instances. I would have liked to get 130, 140 there. I think myself and Quinny, that partnership, if we could have gone a little bit further, we could have had a much bigger total on the board. Disappointed that the tail didn't wag as well as they did in the first innings. That was another 30 runs. As I said, their bowling was very good this Test match, but we should have scored more runs.